I've been working on the mounts for the power distribution module and the Holley ECU, and they're going to mount right there on those aluminum plates. As you can see, the power distribution module will mount on this side facing the passenger compartment. The Holley gets hidden on the other side in between the metal of the car and the roll cage, and it just fits. It's got like a 1/4 of an inch of clearance in there, but I can still access the wiring harnesses. I can still get at everything. I can get my hand in there. Everything's good. So that's going to mount all of that stuff kind of out of the way, but still really accessible and serviceable. So I just thought I'd show you that. Okay, just wanted to kind of show you a mocked up version of what I'm building for the car. So this is the mount system that I'm using to mount the Hardwire PDM 28, which is my replacement for a fuse block. The car won't have a normal fuse box in it. Everything's going to go through the PDM. And then the roll cage fits in between these two panels, and then the Holley mounts on the back side of it. And this will be the front side. I can get it all the wiring. I can plug and unplug things as needed. I can get to the USB. I made sure all of that stuff is accessible. And then at the same time, I'll be able to see all of the different lights and stuff on the PDM. So if I've got a problem with a circuit, I'll know what's going on. Battery connections for the PDM will come off of the 12-volt source at the firewall. So that's kind of the way I've decided to do it. It takes up the least amount of space and kind of integrates everything, all the wiring harnesses kind of into a central location. It's serviceable. All of this stuff comes apart fairly easily. This outer panel mounts to the roll bar itself in 3 spots, here, and in the back. And then the 2 panels connect together with these solid aluminum blocks that I just happen to have laying around. They're not round for a particular reason. They're not that size for a particular reason. It's just what I had on the shelf in my bundle of goodies over there. So that's what I used. These are all connected, and then to make things easy for assembly, what I did was I mounted these on a center, and then I put a dowel pin in it so that this can't spin. So it's going to make this really easy to align all these screws, and I've already test fitted in the vehicle. I'll show you a quick video of that. And everything fits good, everything works good. I've tried getting it in and out with the Holley mounted. Everything goes in and out fine. There is a bit of a procedure to the way it's got to go in, but it's all going to work good. So I just figured I'd show you what's going on, and then these are the tools required, believe it or not, to make these 2 plates. Everything on this table got used to make those 2 plates, plus my mill and my lathe. I hogged out the inside. I've used a boring bar and hogged out the inside of these to kind of lighten them up a little bit. And all of the precision fill, holes and stuff were all done on the mill. And so that's what I needed. And so there's, drills, and then I use this little Milwaukee sander to smooth out the edges. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but all of these edges are smooth and rounded. There's no sharp edges. The corners are all rounded. The whole plate, everywhere you look, is smooth, and there's nothing to catch, and there's nothing to cut yourself on when you're working. You get in a hurry at the track, and you ram your hand in some place, and yeah, you get cut, as you can see. So just the basic stuff. Die grinder. You know, if you don't have one of these and you do a lot of tapping of threads, I highly recommend you get one of these. It's just a tap guide, and you put it flat on your part, and then when you go to tap your hole, this keeps your tap perpendicular to the work, and it makes your hole nice and square and straight. So I strongly suggest you use one of those. It just makes tapping things so much nicer. And the normal stuff, you want to put a chamfer on holes and stuff like that. And there's still a lot of filing in everything I do. Like all of these corners are hand filed, and it's just a little pride in your work, I guess, a little bit. So anyway, I figured I'd just show you. So that's where my wiring harnesses are going to connect to. That's how they're going to connect. Again, this is the way I'm doing it. It's going to work for me. I don't know if it'll work for anybody else, but yeah, figured I'd let you have a look and see what that looks like out of the car, because once I get it in the car, it's kind of hard to see. So now I've taken it all apart, and I'm going to paint these aluminum panels gray to match the inside of the car and get them cleaned up and get them ready to install, and then move on to the next part of the project. Okay, so we've got the panels painted, and I just wanted to kind of show you how I'm going to mount the Holly and stuff. So the Holly's designed to not have the case grounded. They've got these plastic inserts, and then they sit on these rubber floating feet for isolation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these large washers to kind of spread the mount load over the entire rubber foot. The Holly just comes with these little bitty washers, and I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use these larger ones, and so they're just going to slide right down over top of those studs, and this side is facing the car, so that's where I want the connectors, and so this should just slide down onto those posts like that. And then Holly supplies these little self lockers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a small washer on top of the plastic bushing that's on the mounts, just to keep so the nut's not grinding on the plastic. So I'll put a small flat washer on each one, and then put the nuts on them, tighten them down, and the Holly will be mounted. And then this piece will go in the car. And then I'll mount the Hardwire PDM to the front plate in the same manner that I'm using here. I just got a box of goodies from McMaster, so I've got some long screws that I can stud mount that PDM as well. And we'll just get that done, and when I get ready to install this in the car, I'll take you over to the car and kind of show you what that looks like. But for now, just kind of giving you a rundown on how this is all going to work. Let me just, I'll tighten this one more nut here, and I'll just show you kind of the way this works. So, so this piece, hopefully I can keep this in the shot. This piece is going to go in the car. The roll bar goes in between. That's what these spacers are for. And then so what happens is, and I just put screws in here so that when I painted them, I didn't get paint in the threads. But when I go to install this in the car, I put this piece in, and it just sort of nestles in there where the roll bar is and the bracing. And then I take this front piece, and it basically just bolts on to these 6 locations, and that connects the 2 panels together, squeezes them together, and then this panel mounts to the roll cage with 3 bolts. So everything is really solid. Everything's not going to go anywhere. And yeah, like I said, when we get over to the car and go to install it, I'll bring you over and show you how it all looks when it goes together. So here's kind of the same thing on the plate for the PDM. Again, I'm just using studs that go through the back side of the plate. It's just easier for servicing. If you have to take the PDM out at the racetrack or whatever, you got to work on it. You don't have to fool around putting screws through tiny little holes and getting everything all lined up. All you have to do is take the PDM off and slide it back onto the posts. And sometimes getting the alignment absolutely dead on is a little difficult, but there we go. And kind of same thing, I'm going to put these little flat washers on there and then tighten it down with self lockers. So that'll be the whole deal on this thing. And then this actually doesn't get mounted on here though until after this plate is mounted in the car, because I have to be able to get to the mounting screws that are behind this. So I just wanted to show you how this was going to go on there and the way it's going to mount. So that's that.
A few moments later.
Okay, well, hopefully you can see this. What I'm going to do now is, as I was explaining earlier, I'm going to mount the 2 plates together. The Holly is already installed. It's on the back here. And now I'm going to mount this front plate and then put the PDM on it. But to do that, I need to get some Allen wrenches. Okay, so in theory, anyway, if I can do this without getting my big head in the way of the shot and everything else, in theory, this front plate should line up with the back plate. And I think what I might do, just to make this easier to hold, is just put a couple of screws in here just to hold this front plate in place. And what I did was I just drilled holes in the roll bar itself and threaded it. There's plenty of thickness there to get a good thread, and that'll be more than strong enough. So before I tighten these down completely, now we're hoping that all 6 of these bolt holes line up perfectly with my 6 holes that I made on the spacers. And it wants to fall away from me because it's heavy in the back with the Holly on it. If I can just get one started here. There we go. Okay, that's the 3. Now let's see if we can line up these ones as well. They should. And I guess that's where the battery went dead in my Rode microphone. So I'm just going to fast forward through getting the rest of these screws in here. And, this is kind of boring to watch people thread screws in holes. So we'll fast forward through and see where we get. So I was having a little trouble trying to get those nylocks on there. There's actually not enough room between the point of the nut and the housing of the PDM, so I'm going to have to use just regular nuts and lock washers, but that's okay, it's no big deal. I'm just changing the angle of the camera here to show you kind of how this stuff is in here. You can see the PDM on one side and the Holly is on the other, and I'll insert a couple other photos that I took along the way. And yeah, this is kind of wrapped up. It's all obviously going to come out of the car one more time. I've got to program the PDM and stuff, so I'm going to do that out on the bench. But anyway, just figured I'd show you one way of mounting these two units really close together and taking up as little space as possible. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. And yeah, we'll move on to keep putting stuff in place so that I can run wiring and everything. It will be, I'll know where it's going to go. So I think next it's going to be headlights, tail lights, and park lights. So thanks very much for watching. Appreciate you. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe. It'd be great to hear from you. Thanks again. We'll catch you next time.